back here live for you because I'm on the other side of a huge tunnel that I've just been through. And I really want to share what's going on because I feel like this might be really useful for the collective. And I have to say, I moved a ton in my inner world. As you know, I'm a huge embodiment fan. I love embodiment pieces. I love exercises about embodiment because I feel that we can sometimes hijack our spirituality with our mind alone, where we just journal, we just write things out, we just work with affirmations, we work with concepts, we work with all these mental tools, but we don't actually take it down into the body. And so, really, the way that this felt for me was that I was doing this too. I just wanted to keep it conceptual. I'm like, yeah, I understand this. I understand the pain. I understand what's going on here. I understand the feeling. I was still conceptualizing it. And let me tell you, when something is urging you to notice it and to take care of it, it actually feels like, when you go on a hike and you have like a ton on your back, you're sweating, it's hot, and you just want to get to that milestone that you set yourself at. And there's this little pebble that slips into your shoe. And you're like, I'm just going to keep walking. I can feel, it's fine. Like, it's just a tiny little pebble. It's not going to annoy me too much. It's going to take so much time to take all these bags off of me. And then if I rest, then, I will lose momentum. I will lose time. Like, I can do this with the pebble in the shoe. And this is really what we do when it comes to, emotional discomfort. We will keep walking with the emotional discomfort. And, sometimes this makes sense because we literally have other things to do in the moment and we don't actually have the safe haven and the safe space to unravel what is really going on below the surface. And so just like, you're like, if you have two kilometers to go on your hike and you have all these huge bags on your back, you're not going to take them down because you know that you're going to be there in a couple of hours and it's not going to be a big deal. The big deal gets when we, keep telling ourselves, just one more mile, just one more mile, just one more mile, just, let's see how we can do it. And like this little pebble, after some time, you don't not only feel the discomfort, it actually starts to hurt you. And then it starts to create a blister. And then it starts to create a whole wound in your foot. And you can't actually ever get to the end position that you set yourself. And I feel like sometimes we treat certain emotional cues that we receive with that mindset. And that's actually a detrimental mindset when it comes to long-lasting success and, everlasting bliss, all the things that I talk about. Because we cannot, it's not that we cannot get there without, missing this time and losing this time. Of course we can get there, but it's not about getting there. It's about how do you wish to proceed in your life's masterpiece. When you're actually creating your life's masterpiece, like what is your standard and how high do you set your standard for well-being, for long-lasting success, for consistency, for sustainability, right? And so I had a pebble in my shoe and it's been there for a long time. And I've always thought, it's okay, I'll deal with it. This isn't such a big deal. It's not really, it's not really the time yet, until it actually started to hijack everything that I was doing. And this was related with I'm just going to put it out there because I feel that people actually need to hear this. There's probably somebody there who needs to hear this. This was about jealousy. This was about rage. This was about frustration of seeing other women in my field succeeding at the levels that I want to succeed at. And I also place myself in a container that is highly triggering for all the pieces inside me that still believe that I can't have what I want, that still are in conviction mode that, you know, it's always going to be doomsday. I'll never get to the place where I desire, and it's not going to be as easy and effortless as it looks like, and it can't possibly be true, and, you know, it will happen for everybody but me. It will go through, you know, the bank accounts of all these other people, but not through my own. And it isn't just about the money. This is really, you know, the trigger zone for me here was about visibility. It was about authenticity, about showing who I really am, about daring to be who I want to be in this world. And there was the pebble, and I was like, it's fine. I can just keep walking. I can just keep doing my thing. I don't have to look at it right now. I don't have to, you know, I just keep creating my programs. I just keep, you know, nourishing myself. I just keep doing things to support my community until it actually became so huge that I just burst. I literally burst, and I went through this whole tunnel of gloom and doom, going down into the abyss of my own jealousy, going down into the abyss of my loss of power, going down into the abyss of all these things, all this baggage that I just kept carrying within myself that was actually hurting and, you know, really creating a wall. It was creating a wall to such an extent where I couldn't actually celebrate and feel the genuine joy and bliss and celebration for these women who were hitting, you know, like all these crazy figures of cash income a month, and having all this visibility, and, you know, receiving all these opportunities and getting, like, it's like I was seeing it, and something inside me was like, I'm not there yet, right? Like, why am I not there yet? And it was so potent. And I feel like really what this trickles back down to really is, for me at least, this is what came up. And I feel that a lot of us who are light workers, we are coaches, we are inspirational artists, we are light emitters for the world. We often go through what is going on in the collective, either in a parallel level, or we go through it just a little bit before everybody else seems to go through it. And it really takes courage and faith and potency to lead ourselves through these moments of deep, excruciating emotional pain and turmoil, and to stand in the storm and go, okay, what is this actually about? Like, what is this about? And, like, literally get into the ring with your lions and start fighting, right? Start fighting, like literally put up the fight with those pieces inside of you. And this is really what I did, especially these past few days. It was just so intense, where I used my own tools, and I got back down to my knees. Like, my arms are still hurting because I was shadow boxing for so long. And I was physically and physiologically draining and tiring my system out in order to create a new neural pathway. And what this actually led me back into was the mother wound. It was about me and the relationship that I have with my mother, where I still feel that I have to keep, you know, her beliefs and her story and the way that she runs her life and the way that she sees life. I still have to keep her somewhat up here, because if I become more powerful than her, if I become more powerful than all the women in my lineage, then that means that, you know, I have to somewhat, this is all subconscious, right? This doesn't make sense when you're looking at it like this. You have to go into the subconscious level to understand what is really in the way. And so for me, it really was this fear of actually accessing my power. It was fear of disturbing her story of life. It was a fear of, if I own this the way that I really want to own this, then who am I going to be in front of her? And it was about feeling the fear of actually being abandoned by her, or being left out by her, or being rejected or scorned, or, you know, pushed away. Which, by the way, I have a, you know, beautiful relationship with my mother now, but this is so important to understand. These triggers and patterns, they have nothing to do with the present moment in your adult life where you can manage your own stuff. This is actually going all the way back down to an existential level, where, you know, actually the mother really is the primal figure in our life. She is the one who gives us life, truly. And so when we actually become adult women, what this often brings us face to face with is this primal figure, this person who brought me into this world. I have to honor her. And in order to honor her, we also create these structures in our psyche and in our emotional field, and also in our energetic field, where we hold back from stepping into luminescence. We hold back from stepping into sovereignty. We hold back from stepping into our rebellion, from stepping into what actually feels really right for us and might actually disturb. And this is my 11:11 alarm. Just okay. Oh, here it is. And so really, there's so much around this, right? There's so much about this. Oh gosh, we're 11:11 on the 11th of December. How cool is that? So there's so many things that weave into this. And what I realized when I was journaling this out last night was there was all this level of love that is now suddenly available to me, all this level of embodied power that is suddenly available to me that I literally have stuffed down since very, very young. And, you know, really when it comes to becoming the leader of our own lives, what I feel is that these things really come in waves. They come in waves, and there's always a new level where you can make more space for love. You can make more space for your own power. You can make more space for your self-expression. And this is really the work. And that work, it's really not very beautiful. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, me yelling in my room and screaming at some kind of freaky monsters inside of me. It does not look good, right? And, you know, the conceptual, I want to come back to the beginning when I said that I wanted to keep it conceptual. I wanted to keep it nice and tidy and organized. That's not the work. When we're still doing that, that's not the work. The work really requires us to get down on our knees and to scream it out, to allow, you know, our own inner sense of power to kick in. And really one of the pieces that really shifted for me yesterday when I was literally tiring myself out, and even my voice, like I still feel a bit croaky. But one of the culminating points really was to realize that once I had boxed out all of this anger and all of this jealousy and all of this frustration and all these chains, that literally was just like, you know, boxing, like I was bringing myself to my physical edge, to my physical limitation. I literally burst myself, like physically, I drained myself physically. That's when finally the soul essence could come in. Because when we actually surrender the body, we surrender the body to, okay, I've done it now. Like, okay, I've done it. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I can't actually kill myself with this. I don't get to decide when it's the end. So what now? And I realized that actually there's a part in me, there's a consciousness in me, there's an acute, luminescent, and powerful, potent essence inside of me who will always win. That no matter what this physiological response is doing, no matter what this emotion that seems to be so unattainable and like an obstacle that is too big to mount over, when I actually bring myself to physical and emotional exhaustion, what comes in is the awareness, right? The awareness that there is victory in this. There is reconnection to love. There is reconnection to power. There is reconnection with my soul purpose. That this is a pattern that isn't even just mine alone, and it's okay. On a human level, it's way too big for me to carry. But actually, on that level of soul, on that level of, acute luminescent awareness and seeing through the trigger zones, seeing through the illusion, seeing through the pain and all this pattern that suddenly seemed to have built a whole life on its own, there is a part in me that always wins and primes. And that part in me that always wins and primes is so pristine and clear and all encompassing. So it's like literally that part in you that can hold everything. So that can hold you in your pain, that can hold you in your ugliness, that can hold you in your decay and in your stinkiness. It can hold all of it and see it and go, yes, I know this is your human self. Yes, we see that this is where you are as a human being. But this is really your soul's plan. This is really what you've come here for. This is your birth mission. This is what has been given to you since birth, and you were meant to break this. And then there's this huge wave of gratitude that started to roll in, and I had tears just streaming down my face because I realized, oh my goodness, of course, if I was still, gosh, I'm really getting emotional, but if I really was still to hold through this with my own human self alone, there's no way I could get there. So there was really a part of me when I was actually doing this quantum boxing where I was literally summoning God in. I was like I am summoning a power in that can hold this for me, because this is too big for me to hold as a human. And when we actually surrender and we open up to prayer or whatever it is, whatever that looks like for you, you don't have to be religious with this at all. And you may actually be religious and just forgotten that this is actually available to you. But there's actually a power and essence inside you that is capable of holding this, that is capable of, holding this with loving hands and compassion, and actually seeing through the illusion that this doesn't have to be breaking you down. This doesn't have to hold you back. This doesn't have to hold you in that status quo that doesn't feel good. You still get to walk towards your biggest dream, and you still get to hold all that is meant for you right here, right now. You are your own source of power. And the funniest part was I had a friend who reached out to me during the night with a message, and there was this thing that, suddenly started to come up to the surface, where she felt that, I always, she felt certain things about me, and there was this huge upwave that I started to feel. And then suddenly I realized, oh my goodness, this isn't even about me. This is about her and her power. She's going through the exact same piece that I was going through this whole week. And I was just so excited. And of course, in the beginning, there was still a little bit of ego coming up. And what? I did this? How? What? And then I realized, wait, this is the same thing. It's swinging back around. It's taking another spin in the room, so I can let it go. And I don't have to entangle with it on a drama roller coaster level. I can just let it be what it is. I can let it be. I can let her unravel her own power, because this is never about the other person, right? Whenever you're experiencing jealousy, or there's a sense of unfairness or injustice, or a sense of another person has robbed you off your power, or another person has done something to you, listen, babe, this isn't about the other person. This is about you. This is about you who believe that this is still true about you. And you might still feel the shakiness and the discomfort of actually rocking the boat, right? Rocking the boat really to the beginning of your own life, the beginning of your own life, where it's about your first primal figures, whether it was your mother or your father, but it could be one of each, right? And what I feel when, when it's connected to powerlessness, to the point where you feel that another person has taken something off of you, it is most likely going to be around your parental figures, right? Because you still carry a memory on a subliminal, a subconscious level, that it is not okay to question the status quo of your primal figure, and to question, and it's not even to question, it's just simply thanking that, thanking that parent that they had this and that it worked for them, or it may not have worked for them, but that you don't have to step into the same story. You don't have to go into that same pattern. You don't have to accept that, right? And it's all about shifting your energy from this third dimensional perspective, where you're still treating other people with that 3D perspective of placing another person on a pedestal and then, projecting your own sense of powerlessness onto that person. It's all about you removing that person off the pedestal, taking them back down, and seeing yourself as the one there. And really, this work is so deep. It is so profound. I feel mind blown at the things that, the emotions that suddenly become available to me, where I'm actually seeing another person. Like I saw another person this morning who hit 6 figures in her business, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I'm so excited to get there as well. Right? And like 2 days ago, I was like, "Urgh!" And now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm so excited for this person. Like what is available to us emotionally speaking when we actually go down the rabbit hole and we do the work and we do the unsexy, ugly, like, like work that doesn't look good. When we actually do it, we access our sense of potency and power, and we actually embody it. It's like, the body really is the cauldron. The body is the cauldron where things come through. Not only your emotions and your mental space, but also the divine space. And whenever you're hitting a bump, or whenever you have that pebble in your shoe and you keep walking, like, yeah, you will feel when the time is right for you to remove that damn pebble and actually look at your wound and let yourself scream and let yourself yell and let yourself cry and let yourself do all the human things that you have to do until you're actually physically drained, that your physiological response is surrender. You bring your body to a state of surrender, right? And a lot of high performance coaches talk about this, and I really believe it, that our body, really bringing our body to a state of deep surrender, where we actually push so much against the edge that there's nothing left but to surrender and actually lay flat on the ground and go, oh my gosh, I could never believe that I could do this, but I did it, right? It just creates something. It creates something that is not describable, because once you actually access it within your own body, this is when it makes sense. And this is when you have the experience, and the experience can never be taken away from you, right? That is your sense of power. Your experience is your sense of power. Anyway, I hope this inspired you. I'm sending you so much love. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and I will speak to you soon.